How you doing, people? I didn't know if that started or not. A message just came in. Something that's nice and simple to make a good Sunday video. I want to show you how to check your squish band, because we talk about base gasket deletes or thinner base gaskets. I like to see on my squish band 20 thousandths is perfect. I'll run 18 cautiously, but 28's fine too. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get the area that's in your cylinder where the outside ring, if you see the inside of your cylinder where the piston comes up, you're trying to get that where the fuel stays and air stays in the center of the piston, not up to the outside of the piston. Okay, so when you got 20 to 28 thousandths clearance between the piston and the outside edges of the cylinder there, where the flat is, the flat ring. Well, I think I got a cylinder here I can show you. Here's a better one. If I can get this where you can see it. See that ring all the way around in that cylinder? That's your squish band. Obviously, in the center is your combustion chamber. Of course, you can see the cute little spark plug hole. You want that to stay in the center. So if you've reduced that to 20 to 28 thousandths, that's fine. So you don't get the carbon and stuff down over your range. Your fuel, it just plain runs better too. And you gain a little compression when you do a base gasket delete. But sometimes you got to make a base gasket out of notebook paper or something just a little thicker. You can just trace out a stock gasket and cut that out. That'll be fine. Use a little bit of the engine assembly silicone from a motorcycle shop. Just to thin on your gasket and you'll be fine. And you don't even have to, but that's what I use when I do a base gasket delete. So that's what this is really about, okay? This is that nice little 266 that I just finished up. Yeah, see that? Oh, boy. Yeah, there's one of them mufflers without the case on it. You guys are curious, I know. That's 3.5 inches long. That's 7/8 ID for this size saw. The hole is bored in the center in here is 3/4 of an inch. Okay, I wanted 3/4 of an inch accent. And it performs well. We ran this saw. I did have to work on the carb a little bit. I had to order a fuel line. I could have got away with it. If it was mine, I probably would have tried as long as I didn't have to go in the woods with it. And, well, burning nice. I like that. Okay, here's your trick. This is solder. The thinner stuff for doing electronics is what I like to use because I haven't actually ever measured this. It's just I know I can use it, so I do. These are running 1,000ths off, so that's 63 thousandths. That's more than enough. Solder is not going to hurt your piston. Now, it's dead soft. It has no memory, meaning that once it gets compressed, it's not going to expand back a little bit. Okay, what you do is you look in there and you get your piston going down. Bend your solder up. Just a little bit of an arc. Put it right in there. Till you touch that cylinder. You want that where it touches it toward the top, not the bottom. And then you just, like that. And then it flattens it, see? Now, that, instantly I could take a measurement. Okay. That's laying right on 25. But, so that squish on this is 24. Okay. It's a good idea to check them front, back, on your quadrants. Sometimes you'll get a cylinder that's machined kind of funny. You just stick it in and you do the curl, and then count it where it's the thinnest, okay? 20 is great. Anywhere from 20 to 28 is perfect, as far as I'm concerned. 18, you can run it. That's pretty interesting. This is a nice little runner. This is a ripper this saw is. We cut a little bit with it, but like I said, got to do the fuel line. I hope that helps some of you when you're playing with these. But don't mess around and try to use regular automotive silicone to put these together. They don't stand up. I have used a high temp red before in an emergency. But you're better off going to a motorcycle shop and getting the silicone they use to assemble bike engines. Yeah, it's worth what you pay for it, believe me. You'll never have any problems. In fact, I almost on a bet would dare take the cylinder bolts out and run the saw without bolts in it. I'm not going to do that. Don't you do it either. That's a bad idea. But I'm just telling you that when you use that stuff instead of the cheap stuff, when you take that cylinder off that you've already done that for, that's already ran, I don't care if it's a day later you decide to inspect. I do that sometimes. It's stuck. It's really stuck. It's not going to leak. Very thin coat of silicone. But you can build your own gasket if you want to. It's not rocket science. This is all simple. And you can just take your time and get that squish where you want it, where you're safe with it. Okay, we're going to set this saw down. I'm going to tell you what, you guys like a story I was thinking. How would you like to know what it was like to grow up with iron ores? Yeah, Harvey, you know. Okay, now you picture me as a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old kid. And I'm going to tell you what it was like. We live in a small little country hamlet. It's a farming type of little, there's no stores or anything. It's where I grew up. And we have a long valley and high hills that are quite close. So you got a long, narrow valley with a river. Of course, we got railroad tracks too. Got to have that next to a river. I mean, that part of a thing, right? Okay, so growing up around here, there's a mess of us kids. I mean, and we was anywhere from 4 years old to 18. You know, there was quite a mix of ages. You know, but here's the deal on that. There we go. That feels better. Here's the deal on that. We did about everything we could to accidentally inflict pain on each other. I'll tell you that right now. One of our neatest little games we had apple trees everywhere because this type of community, and lilac bushes. They used to plant them all over, and they were still around. But I'll tell you what, you take in September one of them hard green apples, and you take yourself a little piece of lilac switch and bust the end of it off, and you just kind of whip at her. You stuff one of them green apples just about that big around on that, and then you whip that. Man, they'll go a long ways. And if you actually get good at it, you hit somebody with one of them, there ain't none of this, oh, you didn't hit me, it didn't count. You know, you had a big welt. It was like, oh my God, okay, so that guy's out. That's what we used to do, team up, kind of play Apple War is what it was. And so we had kind of unique rules. This little part of our valley that people live in, thousands spread out about a mile long. Well, we just play on the floor of the valley. Well, you'd pick up teams and, you know, you'd choose the captain. And so everybody gets together and gets tactics. And you're carrying this freaking whole bunch of apples in your pockets and in a bag or whatever. And 2 or 3 of them switches in case you break one. So what you're doing is you're hunting each other down and killing them with these green apples. And if somebody got a big red welt on them, they were out. So that's how you decided whether or not you was winning or losing. Like I said, there wasn't oh, no, you didn't hit me. That didn't exist. You know how kids are. When you got hit, you were in pain. It hurt. It hurt bad. And so that was one of the games we played. That was kind of fun. Now, we had an old timer. We'll call him Vic. I mean, his name was Vic. And I remember one time the old fencers had, for electric fence, had points in them. They clicked on and off, and when you was in the barn, you could hear it. And he had some bunch of Herefords. And every little while in the spring when the grass grows fast, the grass would grow up and touch the fence and short it out. Well, them points click on and off. You could tell by listening to him whether the fence was actually working or not. So he gets this new fencer. Now we're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, about four of us. We're all paying attention because this old guy, he's wanting to teach us youngins how to do things, how to be constructive. And he give us little chores, and we tear things apart, put them back together, cut firewood for him, and he was interesting. He had more things around there for little kids. At the time, it was just fine. I think some of the things we did probably wouldn't be allowed. Our parents would be in jail or something over it. But it was all good fun. We didn't have TV here. You couldn't get, all you got was antenna, which and there was no reception. So we played outside like children should do. And there was no such thing as attention deficit syndrome. I think anybody that's got that and got their kids on pills and whacked, they just don't have enough chores for them. They're not tired enough. That's why ADHD exists. The kids don't get tired enough now. But we were busy little boys. So anyway, Vic gets this new fencer. And so we want to know what this is all about. We watched him put it in. He explained exactly where the ground hooked up and why that worked, and power set through the wire, and it was grounded to a rod stuck in the ground. And he said, I've got this. It's a lot hotter. It's got what they call a weed burner. Really? Now, what's that going to do? Well, when the grass grows up and touches that, what it does, it just kills the grass, and the grass falls over. I don't know if it ever caused a fire because grass growing is wet, but it was so the fencer would keep working. Well, okay, so his grandson there, Rick, says, well, Gramps, well, what about rain? Now we learned this stuff at a young age, water shorts out electric. So does water do that? As if that rains, is that going to do it? No, Vic said it'd take a pretty good stream of water to get that fence through the short. Well, instantly as little kids, you're going to test that theory. So four of us lined up. We drank a bunch of Kool-Aid. We was primed. And we going to get 4 streams of water on that fence. So we stood right out there, dropped our shorts right there in the middle of God's country. We, 1, 2, 3, go. And we started peeing on that fence. And we's going to short that out. Bad idea. Don't do that. Do you realize when you start peeing on an electric fence, number one, it's not going to go the way you think. And do you know that you can't stop peeing? You cannot. So here we are. Now that fence is going on, off, on, off, on, off. Well, you can't stop. So every time it happens to you, 4 little kids screaming, ah! And the waters are spraying, you're getting on each other, and there's no way to stop. No way. Now, any of you guys that are my neighbors that happened to be involved in that little escapade, we never told nobody what happened. But I'm going to tell you, that hurt. That really, really hurt. Don't pee on electric fences. Just trust me. Well, you can if you want, but I'm going to get it. I told you so. Okay, here's another one that happened. When you're little kids, you're out there playing at night, and that's all kinds of great fun. Boy, you're all running, and you're a helling. Well, there's great big hay barns around here, and they used to put hay up with horses, so they had a trolley in the top of the barn, and now they made great big hay mows. Obviously, in later years, you baled hay, square bale, and you put it on the top of them barns, and most of them were dairy cows in the bottom, the hay in the top. Well, they always had a great big runway right through the center of the barn, so you could drive equipment right from one side right through out the other doors. And this time of year coming up on Halloween, we get a big moon up there and set up on the knob of one of these hills, and it just monstrous size. It was a full moon just for Halloween. So we're out there, we're throwing rotten tomatoes out of gardens that, from Cannon they didn't pick. And so we're tossing tomatoes at each other. And So we're carrying around all these rotten tomatoes, and there's still a few apples left. So we have our apple switches and one thing and another. And yeah, rotten turkey eggs. We had turkey eggs that was so rotten that if you touched them too hard, they'd bust and with this awful smell. They were like big grenades as far as we're concerned. And I'll tell you about that one in a minute. So we're playing hide and seek, and it's after dark. Three of us decide we're going to just go hide in that haymow in this one barn. There's two great big barns right side by side. So we run in there. The doors were already open. We walked in there, and the doors were open on the other side. With this full moon, you could see this outline of this small person that was shaped real funny and had horns in the moonlight, but you couldn't tell what it was or who it was. So we stop. We come up to a screeching halt within 10 feet of whatever this was. It was darn near our size, just a little shorter. It was big. And we didn't even say a word. We just locked right up and never moved. Uh-oh. So, after about 30 seconds, the fear's starting to build, and it don't take nothing. You're going to have screaming little kids running. All of a sudden, we hear this, woo, woo, woo. What it was a great horned owl. And they're big, they're tall. And he brought his wings up like this, and you can see them little feathers look like horns, and he brought his wings up when he did that hooting. And boy, we went screaming bloody murder out of that barn. Now, did you know when you're 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, when you're a little kid, something frightens you and you start running, you can't stop running. You can't. So we run and we run and we run, and we got all the way back to Vic's house. And he heard us screaming the whole time. He thought one of us got hurt bad. The rest of them was trying to escape, so nobody got in trouble. That ain't what it was. So we told him, hey, there's this bad thing in that barn, and it's big. And one thing and other. So he gonna grab his flashlight. And his grandson says, Gramps, maybe I'll take a gun with you, Oh, it can't be that bad. It didn't eat you. But he got thinking about it, and he grabbed his 30-30 Winchester Model 94. Yeah, one of the original old one. And he cocked one round in that. And his grandson says, well, Gramps, maybe you want 2 or 3 more rounds in there, you think? Why? He said there's only one of them. Yeah, he got thinking about it. He put another round or 2 in it. So we're walking over there, and he, like I said, he got that flag. We're walking behind him. We ain't going near that, whatever it is. We wouldn't get within 100 feet of that barn. So Vic walks in there with his flashlight. Next thing you know, he starts laughing. See, we didn't know then that was an owl. And we didn't know there was such thing as a great horned owl, and they're big, and that scared the crap out of us. It really did. This is adventures of little children in the 60s, early 70s, What a great time to grow up. What a beautiful time. I mean, it was just fantastic. Well, now Vic, being the type of guy he is, he had raised a whole mess of turkeys. He had probably 60, 70 of them. He had this turkey house, like a hen house, only way bigger. And, it come time, turkeys went to market, and there was all them turkey eggs in there. Well, we was whipping these apples on sticks at each other, one thing and another, and there was me and Jeffrey. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? We got trapped. We got ambushed some kind of bad. We ran out of apples. The only thing we could do was not get hit anymore. And so we run into this turkey house. And in this turkey house was all these freaking rotten eggs. They weren't busted. So we stopped. We thought, well, what are we going to do? We're out of apples. And old Jeffrey looks at them turkey eggs. He says, well, we'll just throw these at them. This is broad daylight. And so we did that. We grabbed them. Well, we found out real fast if you put 2 or 3 together and you roll your shirt up, you put a mess of them in there. But one broke. Oh, God, that's rotten smell. And they're big, Oh, that smell was horrendous. That would just gag you. We just about ready to barf, And we thought, well, this is still going to be good. So here we are. We both covered with rotten turkey egg smell already ourselves. And they come sneaking up around behind the barns and right up over the edge of the pond. And boy, Jeff and I started letting go with them turkey eggs. Now, I'm going to tell you what, we just throw rocks at each other. Yeah, try that now, all right? Yeah, oh yeah, it was about inflicted pain, but nobody, hey, this is what kids do. So we started whipping turkey eggs. We kept making hits. And boy, you didn't have to get a direct hit. It could land 6 feet in front of them because when they hit, there was so much pressure, they poofed, a little bit of white smoke come out of them. They were ready to burst. Oh, God, they stunk. So we did that. Next thing you know, they drove us away from that turkey house, and there was a lot of eggs left. So they gather them up. Well, we run into the apple trees, and we're picking up all the apples, and now they got turkey eggs. So this went on till all the eggs were gone and all the apples were gone, and we was getting thinking it might be time to go find something to eat for lunch. It was 1:30 in the afternoon. Well, what we did, we'd go to one parent's house or a grandparents and stuff around the neighborhood, kind of stand outside looking hungry. And they'd grumble at you. Of course, the older people, oh, you guys get out of here. You're bugging me. One thing, hey, you want a cookie to take with you? So you get a cookie. Well, you need a glass of milk with that cookie. Homemade cookies. You didn't get nothing else. You get a ham sandwich or something. Everybody took care of each other's youngins. And of course, if one of us did something wrong, there was the phone call, and when you got home, you got a butt buster, and that's life. Didn't hurt me none, didn't hurt you either, did it? So we decided we're going to try to eat. Oh, I'll tell you what, the phone's ringing out the hook. Hey, don't let the kids anywhere near you. They smell like rotten eggs. It's just awful. My grandmother used lye soap when she did her, my grandfather's overhauls of one thing and another. And she did them in Maytag ring washer out on the porch, and she'd shave off lye soap. Well, they sent us down to her, and we each got a bar of lye soap, and said, okay, now hit the river. We all got a pair of shorts and another shirt. So there's about 15 of us kids out there in the river. Now, the river's a little bit too cold being that, I'm telling you. But they told us we weren't going inside nobody's house till we's clean. And to scrub up real good and just leave them clothes lay. They didn't want them back. And well, that was kind of bad, but, because probably not many of us had many clothes, We didn't even have toys. We had to create our own toys. That's just the way it is. And, poor people. But we had the world. We had the world just right full of love for us. The whole world was. And it was such an experience. Every new day was a new beginning and more things to do and more things to learn. I got many, many stories of growing up. We get washed up, best course, we're freezing. Of course, we put on our clothes and I'll say we're going home. And every one of us got a friggin' bath in tomato juice. Back then, everybody canned their own tomatoes, made their own tomato juice, so everybody had quarts and quarts of the stuff. You didn't have to go to the store to get it. It ain't like nowadays. We can a lot. Well, I'd say Barb does, and she's a laughing and a singing when she does it and says, stay out of the kitchen. Yeah, in fact, in our kitchen, we got a 4x6 island with a sink, and then around the other side of the sink, we got another section of counter with another sink, and that's pretty much for canning. But my boy Colin here, we come in with greasy hands. She says, "Stay out of the sink," don't she, Colin? Yeah. You gotta wash your hands in that sink.
Man sink.
Yeah, we got a man sink, and that's actually in the dining room area. Our kitchen dining room's all one area. But yeah, what a great experience it was growing up the way we did. Share your growing up stories, some of the things you got into. Like I said, none of us had a mean bone in our body. We weren't trying to hurt or kill nobody. It just happened by accident. And but we were rough kids, just a rough bunch of Highlands. I'm going to tell you something about that. Every one of us grew up to be darn hard workers. Any one of us, wherever we worked, I don't care if it was on a farm or helping somebody on weekends do something, they wanted us back. They didn't want them town kids, because they were lazy. They weren't very strong either. You get an old country boy, he grew up farming. He's rugged. He really is, and knows how to work. This is about it for this video. It's longer than I wanted. I hope you enjoyed the story. Email me your stories. Leave them in the comments. Thanks a lot.